pearl that was just beyond anything else, you would go sell everything you had to go buy it. You see, you can't buy it. It can only be given to you by the God who has called you into His family to be His sons and daughters, and therefore joint heirs with Jesus Christ, and part of your inheritance is what God has in store. Can you see that with the eyes of your heart? May you know the riches of His glorious inheritance among the saints. So, hope, to which we're called, the glorious riches God has in store for us. Those are two things you can see with the eyes of your heart open. And Paul prays, and I pray for you, that God will give you that spirit of wisdom and revelation so that your eyes may be open to these realities. But there's a third thing. Third thing, that if you open the eyes of your heart, you will see. And that is the immeasurable greatness of God's power for us who believe. The immeasurable greatness of God's power for us who believe. It's easy in the world we live in today to feel powerless, isn't it? A lot of us felt very powerless as the markets dropped. Wasn't a thing we could do about it, was there? As our retirement accounts, our IRAs lost value, nothing we could do about it, right? Somebody else is in charge of all that stuff, and I suppose you could have taken some of your money out of some of the stock market, but where would you put it? And ultimately, money loses value, whether it's buried in the mattress in your bedroom, or in a bank, or in an investment. But God tells us that there is an immeasurable power available to us who believe through Jesus Christ. And that power isn't a power to change things like the way that the markets went, but the immeasurable power to change the way that we live in the midst of the world. The immeasurable greatness of the power to choose our own perspective. You know what perspective is, right? If I walk over here, and I stand right here, I can look Shadrach right in the eyes. But if I walk over here, and I stand in the right place, Sam, sit up straight. He's short. I should have chose someone else, right? If I go way back here, then I can't see Shadrach in the eyes anymore. I have to stand in the right place in order to be able to see, to speak directly to him. And as a matter of fact, your perspective changes every time I move, right? Whether I turn this way, now my back's to the folks over there. Or if I turn this way, my back's to the folks over here. Or if I raise my eyes to look toward the back so I can see Pippin clearly. Or if I focus more up front here on the sheesh, my perspective changes, but so does yours. And this is part of what it knows to know the immeasurable greatness of God's power for us who believe. When I look anywhere with the eyes of my heart, I don't just see who you are. I see who Jesus knows you. As Mother Teresa said when asked how she did the work that she did, "Oh, it's simple," she said in an interview in 1974 or something like that. She said, "It's simple. I just see the face of Jesus in everyone I help." See, the immeasurable greatness of the power that God gives to us who believe is the ability to see what others can't see with the eyes of our heart. Lillian had a fall a while back, cracked her hip. We missed you a lot while you were gone. But you know what? Could have been worse. She could have hit her head. She could already be gone on to be with the Lord. Now, some people say, "Oh, she was lucky." I got news for you. With the eyes of your heart open, there's no such thing as luck. See, I see God at work through the eyes of my heart. Do you see God at work? Or do you just think, "Oh, well, you know, she was just lucky"? We can't know why things happen the way they happen, but we can believe that God's at work. I don't expect you all to remember way back to almost 4 years ago when I first came. But one of the first sermons I preached, I remember very well, was talking about how I understand miracles. I said, you know, some people don't think miracles happen anymore, but they happen every day. It's just that most of us don't call them miracles anymore. With the eyes of your heart, you see a miracle every time modern medicine actually works. Because you know what? Sometimes it doesn't. We don't understand why. As a pastor who had to go through what's called clinical pastoral education many years ago, I was an on-call chaplain in a hospital in Georgia for a semester when I was at Emory. And then later I was an on-call pastor at Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown, West Virginia during my first year after seminary. I got called to go to the emergency room. People brought in, families wondering whether they were going to make it or not, and some did and some didn't. God works in mysterious ways. And doctors, the best ones, will say, "We don't know why they didn't make it. We thought everything was fine, and then they were gone." We pray in our Saturday morning group for people to find jobs when they don't have one. We were praying for Rupesh a little while back, weren't we, Rupesh? You got a job now, Rupesh? Yeah. He's got a job now. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Not only that, I'm telling a little bit about Rupesh's story. He had one job that he was going to have to go to. He wasn't thrilled about it, but it was a job, right? And before that job came through, a better job came open, right? See, God's at work. And there's immeasurable power in the ability to trust God and to choose a different perspective. The immeasurable power to choose how we react to others. You know, all of us get frustrated sometimes. Ever yell at someone? How many of you have ever yelled at someone? All right.